Week 6 started with an absolute stinker in London. More on that in just a little bit. And hopefully you got by and got a W with your fantasy team. We'll break it all down today on the Audible.
You got a team, here's a word of the wise. You want to dominate your league? Go to football, guys.
Football. I'm living in a fantasy. Football. Got everybody mad at me. Football. Cause every game I had to win. Football. I gotta be a champion. Football. I'm living in a fantasy.
All right, Bloom. Rarely do we open like this, but we do it sometimes when the game is terrible. I'll just give you both teams because Justin Fields was sacked as many times as he had completions. 9 times. Bueller. Not much for Garrett Wilson, not much for Breece Hall, not much for J.K. Dobbins, not much for Cortland Sutton. Maybe Evan Ingram did a little bit more. Bo Nix was fine. He had 3 incompletions in the first half, and then he had 3 attempts in the third quarter. Weird. But the Broncos got the win 13-11 because of that stupid safety. So yeah, let me just toss them both to you, Bloom.
Yeah, there were a few games today where a team that seemed to have a functional offense got sucked into the vortex of a team that didn't have a functional offense. This was one of those games, 13-11, it's good football. What happened to this offense? Problems. We had an idea that Sauce Gardner would cover Cortland Sutton well, but only Evan Ingram did anything, and it wasn't much. Troy Franklin had a fumble. The Jets have been reeling on defense, by the way. So at least the Jets defense plays with some pride for Aaron Glenn. You thought J.K. Dobbins, they stuck with him. Things went well last week. Not that they abandoned him, but they just didn't put drives together. R.J. Harvey, what the heck, flex? What the heck? Why the heck is he on your fantasy roster? The way this offense looked, they play the Giants next week. Justin Fields, you ask how much longer? How much longer can you put a team out there that doesn't have a credible NFL pass offense? And Aaron Glenn dismissed it. What do you mean? Why asking me that? You had a bad game. Everyone has bad games. Okay, well, again, bad games like the number of games where a team, number of times in the last 20 years, a team has had 1.5 or fewer yards per play on offense. 2 of the games were Justin Fields games out of 4. One of them was his first NFL game. So isn't that a sign? He hasn't improved. He hasn't grown. We thought maybe against the Steelers, that was just the Steelers. First week jitters, injuries. So Garrett Wilson does nothing. He comes out of this with a knee injury, playing Carolina next week, by the way. Breece Hall gets 22 carries, no receptions, 59 yards. So can it get worse? I think this team has actually led 4 games or 3 games in the fourth quarter. Does that make it worse or better? I don't know. I think it was Greg Schiano who started season 0-6 with 3 games that the team led in the fourth quarter, which makes you think kind of one and done, huh?
Yeah, one and done there for Aaron Glenn. At least that's the way it's working. So we go to our next game, which was much, much better. It's Arizona and Indianapolis. I really thought Arizona was going to pull it off with Jacoby Brissett, 31-27. Though the Colts get the win, they're 5-1. Arizona's 2-4. Brissett starting for Kyler Murray. Is it anything to wonder, Bloom? We like to wonder on this show. I'm going to sound like I'm speaking Mandarin here for you because I know you're not a gamer, but Battlefield 6 just came out this week and Kyler Murray's out. Coincidence? I think not. Right. But Jacoby Brissett is in and Bam Knight is in. Some Amari DiMercado did play because there was some conversation about he's not even going to play. Zay Jones, 5 for 79. Trey McBride, 8 for 72 and a touchdown there. Michael Wilson, 4 for 44. And again, no Kyler Murray. Brissett with 320 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 1 INTs. And you thought just for a second, man, could they possibly pull this upset? And the answer is Morgan Freeman voice, no.
Yeah, this is a game, Cease, where you come out wondering, I think it's a great question now. Is this it? I mean, Jonathan Gannon, this Cardinals team, have we kind of come to the end of this cycle? Blake Allen Murphy, who is one of the people I really trust talking about any specific team, he feels like this, what we've seen is probably a sign that this has played its course. And isn't it a sign when again, Jacoby Brissett comes in and shows that there are parts of the playbook, parts of the pass offense that Kyler Murray just isn't activating. You make the joke, Cease, but every joke is 10% truth, right? There are questions here. Trey McBride scores a touchdown. I know it's too on the nose, but really, questions. What meat Kyler Murray's leaving on the bone? And maybe Jacoby Brissett can go into next season as a starter somewhere. He should be. I mean, he looks like one of the 32 best starting quarterbacks. That's with Marvin Harrison going out with a concussion, riffing with Zay Jones, and also Michael Wilson. We did see Bam Knight. The report was he's the starter. Well, he did get a few more touches. He did get the touchdown. Michael Carter still got a decent number of touches. Like you said, Amari DiMercado did get in. I think he even had a goal to go touch. Got hurt in this one. So we'll watch. But the offense wasn't supposed to be the problem for John. The focus for Jonathan Gannon. It was supposed to be the defense. And that's maybe why this team has run its course, because it was the offense with Jacoby Brissett showed up. The defense, well, another story.
Yeah, that is another story for, now, because Daniel Jones goes 212 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 INT. Tyler Warren, what a revelation, man. 6 for 63 and a touch. Josh Downs, 6 for 42 and the other touchdown. Alec Pierce was back, 2 for 48 in his return. Michael Pittman, 2 for 20. Oh, okay, there you go. And then Jonathan Taylor, 21 carries, 123 yards, 1 touchdown. Daniel Jones with a rushing touchdown as well. And all praise Jonathan Taylor, because there's a special running back and he happens to play in Indianapolis.
Yeah, and they know, because on the last drive when they needed to get the touchdown, the field goal, the touchdown, the touchdown drive to tie it up, and then the field goal, they were going to rely on Jonathan Taylor, and he's just in peak performance right now. Daniel Jones this week in on 3 of the touchdowns. Again, 6 touchdowns last week. Jones only in on 2. This week he's in on 3, including a rushing touchdown. I think it's the first one since week 2. So you're happy there. This is an elite offense. Now, as far as passing game plays, of course, Tyler Warren, and there was an emphasis on Tyler Warren early. He got a shovel pass. He got some passes downfield. He got a really nicely designed touchdown. And Josh Downs was a big part of that drive. Josh Downs gets a touchdown later on. And then Jonathan Taylor gets a touchdown here. And this is an offense that is the best in the AFC right now. Michael Pittman was a little quiet. You did have one bad interception. You had a point in this game where Daniel Jones just did not see Mac Wilson and threw the ball right to him. And then he just went back to slicing and dicing, because that is what is going on with this offense right now. He didn't get shook. And this is really fun to consider going forward, and a really fun matchup going up against the Chargers. This is a team, they haven't been 5-1 since the Peyton Manning days, So, yeah, get happy. Again, I just feel like Jim Irsay is smiling and enjoying this.
Yeah, I believe week 1 is a liar. Is week 6 a tease, Sigmund? Because our next game, I thought, hey, maybe Arizona can pull it off. I really thought Miami was going to win this thing. Our next game up, 29-27. Chargers get the win over the Miami Dolphins. Dolphins 1-5. Chargers are 4-2. Justin Herbert, 264 yards, 2 touchdowns, no INTs, pulling it off late. And I mean late in this game to get the win. 7 for 101, touchdown to Ladd McConkey. Fantasy GMs around abound and praise Ladd McConkey there. Aronde Gatson was 7 for 68 in this one. Keenan Allen 4 for 27. Kimani Blanken Vidal 18 for 124 in this one. A big 38-yarder. Just more explosiveness to the field and to the backfield. Really also 3 for 14 and a receiving touchdown as well for the second year back. And Chargers made us a little nervous, but the Dolphins don't win. Chargers do.
Yeah, Chargers stay on track after a loss that they were surely smarting from last week. And this is a game that you saw some adjustments. You saw, because remember, Joe Alt was out. Trey Pipkins was out. It's like the third tackle was also out. Not that you're afraid of Miami's defense, but you go to more short passing, and Herbert does enough for fantasy. You have a play late after Tua Tagovailoa storms back to a 27-26 lead late, where Ladd McConkey gets free on a short pass, turns into a long reception, and sets up the 5th field goal for Cameron Dicker Dicker the kicker. I think he's the most accurate kicker as of this moment in NFL history. You did no Quentin Johnson in this one. The rookies, Trey Harris and Oronde Gadsden. He had a fumble in this one. They kept going to him. Oronde Gadsden. So he is a wide receiver, basically. A big wide receiver is out. He plays a big role. We'll see if Quentin Johnson's going to be back for the game next week against Indianapolis. But if he isn't, I think we're going to be talking about Gadsden on the waiver wire show. Either way, Keenan Allen not as impactful, playing more of a complimentary role, but everybody was complimentary to Kamani Vidal. And Cecil, let's take this one out. Let's just take this one out for a walk because we've been doing this for a long time. Yep. This is the kind of thing that'll really mess with you. It'll mess with you because now you're not going to give up on anybody, right? Because we watched Vidal in college. We saw him fall to this situation last year. We said, there's a path. There's a path for him. And the path even kind of opened up for him last year. Didn't do anything. Then they felt free to expose him to waivers. They put him through to the practice squad. Oh, well, that's a sign that we were wrong. We were wrong. We were all wrong. And Matt Walden a lot of us were high on it. We love these low center of gravity, shifty backs, run hot, and now we can see that we were right? I mean, I don't care what else happens in Kamani Vidal's career, Cecil, for a 6th-round pick to come in and do this. If you liked him, you were right. Even at the very least on the waiver wire show, when we said pick up Vidal over Haskins, we were right. But now, how can you give up on somebody even when the team gives up on them, right?
Right.
So, but the good news is there was a report before this game that Omari Hampton's ankle is a more than 4-week injury. So Vidal has really asserted himself in this one. And it's great to see. I mean, it's great to see these guys seize their opportunities because they don't get many. Sometimes they don't get any. The defense made some plays to help set them up. And, the Odafe Owe trade pays off right away. He gets a sack. So really good yardstick game. This team, we're seeing it around the league, Cease, and it's the same thing in fantasy football. Sometimes you just got to survive. You just got to scrape by and survive the rough times. And the Chargers found a way to do that today.
Yes, they found a way, and the Dolphins found a way to lose. So Aaron Glenn may be one and done, and Mike McDaniel's just run its course. Yeah. So this, unfortunately, appreciate Mike, but man, you can't get it done. And Tua throwing those 3 picks, 1 touchdown, 3 picks, 205 yards. Now 2 rushing touchdowns for Devon Achane, 16 for 128. Just a little bit better than Kamani Vidal. And those 2 rushing touchdowns, of course, benefit his fantasy day greatly. 4 for 22 as a receiver. Jalen Waddle threw a pass, caught passes for 95 yards. Julian Hill, 3 for 31 in this one. Alec Ingold, 1 for 22. There's Malik Washington, 4 for 22, coming to a shutting down very near to you. Darren Waller, all he does, score touchdowns. Another one, and another one, 2 for 12 and a touch there for Waller today.
Yeah, the Dolphins. I don't know, Cease. Tua Tagovailoa was saying after this game, guys missing meetings, late to meetings. He doesn't know what can help fix it. Remember, this year they were really, really going to fix the culture. Last year they were going to fix the culture. This year they were really, really going to fix the culture. And I don't know if Mike McDaniel is doing the worst job as a leader, as an authority figure, as a tone setter because of the culture of this team, or it's just a culture that he inherited and it starts with ownership. And he's doing a great job because they're competitive, because they're actually competitive. They're actually hanging around in these games and playing with spirit after we saw a team in the first week against Indy that looked like they were ready to end the season. But Tua wasn't as good for fantasy this week. Out of the 3 interceptions, 1 was not his fault. Jalen Waddle just juggled the ball right into Tony Jefferson's hands. But otherwise, and he did lead that drive. They were down 26-20, and he led the drive to put them ahead 27-26. Could have been a triumphant day for him, even though it wasn't a triumphant day for fantasy. He did get that touchdown to Darren Waller late, who was quiet. Julian Hill, great story about him on his personal level from Ty Dunn, by the way, if you want to look up that one on Julian Hill. Love seeing him making some plays on that.
Pretty much Ty Dunn could write Ty Dunn could just copy the phone book and he'd probably make it a great read. You know what I mean?
Well, because it's the human side. It is the idea of football as struggle, and some of these guys have overcome struggle that none of us will ever even remotely know in our lives. So a struggle to get on a team or a struggle on the football field, is nothing like what they've already overcome, and that certainly applies to Julian Hill. Devin Achane's overcome being a mighty might. How about him? Because you wouldn't know that this is a team that's swirling down the drain the way he's playing and finding a way every week to be a fantasy running back one. This time it was from 49 yards after the Rondé Gatson fumble. So this team's 1-5, but they were competitive in those last 4 losses, and they're playing Cleveland, team that isn't exactly proud, team with ownership problems also. So yeah, you can skip that one next week.
Yeah, we can skip that one. Let's talk about this one. New England Patriots 25, New Orleans Saints 19. Saints are 1-5. Pats are 4-2. Okay, New England. Okay, Drake May, they got one. 261, 3 touchdowns in this one. Drake May also 28 yards on the ground to lead the way. Because Antonio Gibson out. So here comes Travion Henderson with 9 for 27 on the ground, 13 for 18 for Ramondre Stevenson. Of course, those two getting a bit of work in the receiving game. 1 catch for 9 yards. And then Stevenson had a target, but not a catch. Kayshon Boutte, everyone's favorite waiver wire pickup, 5 for 93, 2 touchdowns. Awesome. Demario Douglas, 7-11, 3 for 71, and a touchdown. That's awesome as well. Stephon Diggs, 3 for 28. Hunter Henry, 3 for 27 in this one. But the Patriots are rolling and bloom further than that. The Patriots are good.
Yeah, and getting better. And see, as this game goes on today, down here in the Big Easy, I'm reflecting on how, first of all, the Giants and the Vikings made big moves for May, right? They offered a lot. I mean, they offered the kind of package that if the Patriots were interested in moving down, then they would have moved down. They came strong to the hole, and the Patriots.
I remember at the owners' meetings 2 years ago, I went to Adam because I saw Schefter and we were catching up, and I said, "Hey, I'm hearing from New England they are not moving off Drake May." I already knew it was Jaden Daniels to Washington. Yeah. Obviously, we knew Caleb. But I said, Adam, can you check? Because you haven't heard a lot from New England in the Belichick era. And then after the Belichick era, you hear a little bit more. But when they weren't moving, they weren't going to move.
No.
From heaven itself.
It didn't matter.
They weren't going to move.
It didn't matter. So don't tell me that, by the way, that J.J. McCarthy was plan A for the Vikings. How wise does that look now? How important does that look?
Well, J.J. McCarthy doesn't even fit Kevin O'Connell.
Well,
you know who does? Drake
May.
Blanket May.
Is there anywhere he doesn't fit? I mean, that's the way he's playing right now. So monumental. And at this moment, if you said he's the best quarterback in that draft class, not only would that not be crazy, I mean, I think that would be the majority view. The way, again, every week more people are seeing the way he's playing, the way he's playing the position.
Yep.
It may not last forever, but it is beautiful. And for fantasy, it's beautiful if you have May. If you don't have May, well, it was Kayshon Boutte to start. And then it was Hunter Henry. And then it was Stephon Diggs. And now it's back to Boutte again. Who's it going to be next week? Because Tennessee might be everybody. But Drake May's that good. This week the deep ball goes to Demario Douglas. Good thing I'm in some best ball leagues, right? But Demario Douglas and his speed, he gets free. And Drake May, he's whoever his favorite receiver is the open receiver. They were citing some stats of his, and there was one stat where the other 3 names and he wasn't, I don't know if he was there yet. It was like passer rating in his first 5 games of a season under 23 or something like that. The names were Dan Marino, Patrick Mahomes, and Dak Prescott. That's what we're talking about with Drake May right now. Not much with Ramondre Stevenson. He did get a few goal line carries, didn't convert them. It was a rough day for the running game. Travion Henderson still not doing anything of note. But when the offense is this good, hold on to your Patriots running backs. Better days are going to come because better days are here for this offense, winning ahead of schedule. And again, better days next week against Tennessee.
Yeah, better days, maybe sometime for New Orleans. And let's talk about Spencer Rattler, 20 of 26, 227, no touchdowns, no INTs. Chris Olave, 6 for 98. Alvin Kamara, more as a receiver this week, 5 for 45, and then 10 for 31 as a runner. So we continue to see Kamara not quite what he used to be. Kendre Miller, 8 for 21. So he's doing a little bit, catch for 11 yards, doing a little bit. Taysom Hill with the rushing touchdown because, of course, Taysom Hill has a rushing touchdown. Not much from Rashid Shaheed, Brandon Cooks, Juwan Johnson, or anyone not named Chris Olave. and Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, have you heard this one before? The Saints fought hard. Spencer Rattler played better than you thought he was going to play.
Right.
Playing, he's like doing like safe plus, but he's making sure he's got that safe part down. And then he's making some plays. It was a ball downfield to Chris Olave to get things going. Again, not so much for fantasy for himself, but Olave's value staying alive. And Rashid Shaheed didn't get the deep ball, but at least that was a chance after last week. Alvin Kamara's okay. By the way, all the word is, and I kind of wavered from this because there were so many rumors, but I had always heard he loves it here, and there was a reinforcement like he doesn't want to get traded. I'm not saying it's impossible that he's going to get traded. He doesn't want to get traded. He wants to be here, and he was good enough for fantasy. But with Taysom Hill getting the rushing touchdown, as you said, Juwan Johnson had a fumble that hurt things. And they had settled for 4 field goals. That's how you lose to good teams. But remember, New England's a good team. They play the Bears next week. Are the Bears good? Yeah, I don't know. The Bears are a good team. Maybe the Saints can play spoiler like they do every week.
Like they try to every week. We got 4 games down. We've got, oh God, math. 7 games to go. Here it's the Audible Week 6 Fantasy Football Instant Reactions and Takeaways. React to us in the live chat right here like Bougie saying, I don't get Henderson. Pretty disappointing after the preseason excitement that we had around Travion. Also, drop a comment down below. That really helps the YouTube algorithm. That says you like us. You really, really like us. So we appreciate that. We just love to talk about football and comic books sometimes when I bore Bloom and weed. So we'll talk about it all. Sorry, Joe. I mean, we talk about it, right? Pass it to the left and let's talk Cleveland and Pittsburgh in this one, Bloom, because 23-9, the Steelers are 4-1. All right. Browns are 1-5. Whatever. Dylan Gabriel, 29-52. If your game plan includes Dylan Gabriel throwing it 52 times, that's a game plan for 2 games. And it's a bad game plan, by the way. 221 yards, no touchdowns, no INTs, sacked 6 times. He loves them, the tight ends, like Harold Fannin, 7 for 81. All right. Jerry Jeudy, 5 for 43. Okay. David Njoku, 3 for 28 there as well. Gage Laverdian, I don't think I've ever said his name on this show. So 2 for 22 in this one. And then a bunch for others that didn't do a whole lot. You didn't start anyway. Quinton Judkins, 12 for 36 in this one. And Judkins also was targeted once, no catch. But okay, and with Shadur Sanders hot on his heels, Dylan Gabriel went out there and lost in a big way to the Steelers, throwing it 52 times. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think this is 22 straight regular season losses in Pittsburgh for Cleveland. We're not going to talk about why I had to say regular season, okay? I even remember as a kid when it was Three River Stadium, Cleveland had not won in Pittsburgh for so long. I think they had witches come and put like dirt from Cleveland on the field. It's just, this has always been, there's the factory of sadness, and then there's the factory of sadness when you're on the road, factory sadness B&B, when you're in Pittsburgh. And that was how it was for Cleveland. I think everyone kind of expected that. Quinton Judkins finally getting slowed down. Steelers run defense, again, coming out of the bye, healthier. He's contained. Jerry Jeudy got 13 targets. Like 9 fantasy points in PPR leagues. It was Harold Fannin with David Njoku getting a little banged up in this one. So we know that Dylan Gabriel likes throwing to the tight ends. So against Miami again next week. So Harold Fannin, we'll talk about him on the waiver wire show. Jack Conklin left with a concussion in this one. Gabriel was even bad in garbage time. The sad thing is they got down into the Steelers' end. Could have gotten some garbage time touchdowns like Minnesota did, for instance. But Gabriel would stall out. This is a team, I saw the stat that they're paying 8 quarterbacks right now.
Right. Yes.
8. These mistakes, they're like the mistakes, the gifts that keep on giving or passing it on the left-hand side. Do you remember that? We actually sang along to that song as a kid. Pass the
Dutchie on the left.
Yeah. So pass the Dutchie to Shadur Sanders. Let's see what he can do.
All right, Shadur, a veteran of Boulder. If you know, Sigmund. Yeah, Pittsburgh side. Oh boy. All right. Aaron Rodgers, 235, 2 touchdowns, no INTs. Jaylen Warren was back, and it was a split favoring Warren. 11 for 52 on the ground. Kenneth Gainwell, 6 for 22 in this one. And then we see Gainwell with 6 catches, 14 yards. But here we go for the touchdowns. It's DK Metcalf, 4 for 95 and a touch. Awesome. Darnell Washington, so huge. 3 for 62. All right. Jonnu Smith, exciting, but 3 for 18. Not exciting. It's Connor Hayward who gets the other touchdown. And then there's Roman Wilson and Pat Fryermuth. Looks like Jalen Warren got a couple of catches as well. But it's like, okay, this is a lot of DK Metcalf, maybe a dash of Darnell today, although 36 of it came on one play of his 62 yards. And Jalen Warren's back. I'll just get it out of the way, Bloom. The Steelers are boring as hell. I wanted to use the S word, but sorry, Joe. Like the Steelers are but they're winning.
Yeah, they don't care.
So be boring as hell. They don't care.
Yeah, they don't care. They're 1-5. The Ravens 1-5. Ravens. Steelers are 4-1. And it's exactly the way they drew it up, right? Now, again, let's just enjoy this. And for fantasy, it's better than we thought. Now, of course, what's the headline here? No sacks, no turnovers against Cleveland. No sacks, no turnovers. I mean, that's the point, right? And they were settling for field goals for a while, and then Rodgers made a few plays. He kept a play alive on the touchdown throw to Hayward. A nice deep ball, nice arc, nice catchable cylinder on that deep ball to DK Metcalf. And they're keeping DK Metcalf's speed involved. There's no A.J. Brown, college teammates. There's no A.J. Brown kind of problems here. I think everybody's happy. I think everybody understands. Everybody's pulling in the same direction. And you mentioned Darnell Washington, and Mike Tomlin actually came out and said, when we're playing these 3-4 teams, we figured out that it's a lot better with Darnell out there. And I think he played like 90% of the snaps against Minnesota. And he said he's going to keep playing against some of these 4-3 teams coming up, like Cleveland. I think next week Steelers play Cincinnati, another 4 on Thursday. So there's your offensive bonanza. But Darnell Washington, isn't it fun, Cease, as a Steelers fan? I mean, I get like Mo Alley Cox. Like, I love it when the tight ends that are just massive human beings, absolutely massive human beings, make plays. And they came out with that play, the 36-yard play. Washington fumbled at the end of it, out of bounds, but they had that on the opening drive. So they're going to continue to get him involved. A little bit of Caleb Johnson sprinkled in there. Kenneth Gainwell and Jalen Warren didn't do enough to be that great for fantasy. Gainwell at least caught 6 passes. Again, they settled for 3 field goals. It was a matchup against Browns defense that's pretty good. The offensive line's playing better against Cincinnati. You got Gainwell and Warren as flex plays, but no, as we expected, Warren comes back healthy out of the bye. But this is back to being a split backfield and not Warren in the lead and Gainwell in the back seat. And this, everything is right on track for the Steelers. They don't care what we think. They just care about winning, and they're doing it.
Guess who else cares about the winning? The Carolina Panthers today. Dallas and Carolina is up next here on the Audible. 30-27, the final score, and it's Carolina getting the win. They're 3-3. The Cowboys are 2-3-1. Stupid ties. Dak Prescott goes 25-34, 261 yards, 3 touchdowns, no INTs. George Pickens gets one, 9 for 168 and a touchdown. Jake Ferguson gets one, 3 for 33 and a touchdown. Hunter Lupke gets the other one with a couple catches, 7 yards and a touchdown there. Ryan Flournoy, 3 for 30. Of course, no Kevontae Turpin in this one. So we're watching for others not named George Pickens and Jake Ferguson. It really wasn't much. Javonte Williams, 13 carries, 29 yards, and then 5 catches for 5 yards there as well, benefiting his day in PPR. Cowboys got to be disappointed after this one on the road.
Yeah, they've been through some phases already this year. They feel like the kind of team that could beat anybody and maybe could lose anybody, except for maybe Tennessee. But then again, Tennessee
never
lost, any given Sunday, right? And this game had some subplots that we'll talk about that became the plot. Dak was great. It's really great watching him play great and not just showing up for fantasy, but he is the kind of quarterback, Steve, we talk about a lot. As goes the quarterback, so goes the team. And he's one of those quarterbacks. I know Cowboys fans will say, like, the playoffs, but you feel okay if he's your quarterback. I mean, he's worthy of being truly a franchise quarterback. And you wouldn't know that the offensive line's banged up. You wouldn't know that CeeDee Lamb is out. However, as the game went on, you did have him settling for a field goal late. And then when he got the ball back, when the game was tied, they went backwards. I don't know, some of that's play calling. It's not all on Dak, but that you need those drives to be touchdowns, or at least both to be scoring drives. What was really exciting from the George Pickens, the George Pickens point of view is, and we heard this, Cease. Again, we can always index back to things we heard, that Pickens saying like, hey, they're using me on like short routes. They're using me on routes to set up run after catch. Steelers didn't care about this. You took a slant to the house today. That's what George Pickens can do. George Pickens can also run away from people. He's got speed. He's got that long strider build-up speed, and he's got good instincts in the open field too. So even when CeeDee Lamb is back, which might be next week against Washington, you're still going to keep Pickens in your lineup. A little bit of Ryan Flora. You did get a touchdown from Jake Ferguson, but again, the target spikes are going to be gone when Lamb is back. So he'll just go back to being a tight end one, not the tight end one. Like you mentioned, fullback touchdowns, we like that too, Hunter Lipke. But the real emotional story here today, and see, sometimes we see him coming, and even though you could see it coming, it wasn't any less impressive from Rico Dowdle.
Right. And with Rico Dowdle coming off a 200-yard game, I had said it. I believe I said it on the waiver show. It's like, he's not going to get 200 again. Well,
yeah.
Well, revenge game against the Cowboys. He got over 200 all-purpose yards, 30 carries, 183 yards for Rico Dowdle. I mean, my God. That's the way you get it done. 4 for 56 and a receiving touchdown there as well. It was Bryce Young with 199 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 INT, Dowdle with one of them, and Teteroa McMillan with 2 of them things, 3 for 29 and 2 touchdowns. Jimmy Horn Jr., 2 for 36, Dynasty. Tommy Tremble, 4 for 39 in this one. So here we go. And I'll just take this moment out to say, whoever the ESPN reporter was that asked Xavier Legette that question about his parents being Cowboys fans when they're both deceased, and the guy wrote an article about it a year ago and didn't remember that, dude, you're a scumbag and you need to be fired. Sorry, that's just me. Did you see the looks on Legette's face when asked about that?
Yeah. I mean, but this is a feel-good moment for the Panthers. Hey, they're 3-3. Okay, they're 3-3 now. They're coming off of 2 home wins, and here we go again with Bryce Young. I'll get to Rico Dowdle. Here we go again with Bryce Young, where Cece's making plays. He's making plays under pressure. He's making plays outside of structure. He's on the same page. You know, the extended play on the touchdown pass to Rico Dowdle. He's making plays on 4th down. He's showing mental toughness and competitive toughness. And Rico Dowdle might end up being the player that like saved Dave Canales and Bryce Young's job. You know, he really might. And Bryce Young in this matchup, in the Dallas matchup, is a good matchup for fantasy. Justin Fields even did it in garbage time. So, you know, Bryce Young getting back on our fantasy radar and doing enough to get Teteroa McMillan's first 2 touchdowns. McMillan had a drop early in the game, but after that, the 2 touchdowns helped. But really, it's Rico Dowdle. And I brought this up on the show periodically, you know, the kids of the 80s. We talk about Pass the Dutchie, like Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Charles Jefferson, you know, beat up his was it a Trans Am? Camaro. See, that's perfect. That's how you know it's me and not some alien imposter. Like if I get stuff like that right, then you'll know that something's up.
What's happened to Sigmund?
Right. Wait a second. But you know, Rico Dowdle, and really it was last week too, but it was just even a little extra. And they said he told his teammates, get ready, you know, get ready. Because it really was a revenge game. I mean, it really was a game like, you didn't believe in me, and now I have a chance to show you what you passed up, right? And he just ran like, it was like little sparks were coming off of him as he was running the ball, you know? Just such an impressive showing. And like you said, he's 183 rushing. They were talking about during the game players that did back-to-back 200-yard rushing games. There's four players that did back-to-back 200-yard rushing games. So he was going for number 5. He didn't make it. OJ. I don't even need to say the last names. I don't even need to say the last name, Cease.
Nice.
OJ.
Okay.
Earl.
Yes.
Ricky.
Okay.
And JHI.
And JHI. Okay. There you go.
You know, JHI, we love him. I mean, he ran all out. Talk about guys.
Ricky Williams, not Ricky Waters, I would assume.
Oh, yeah, Ricky Williams. Okay. I'm sorry. You're right. Ricky Williams. Yeah. I just figured with Earl Campbell, like that would automatically be the first Ricky that everyone would reference.
I was going to say Barry. Barry's not even on the list.
Not back-to-back 200-yard games. Not back-to-back 200-yard games.
Wow.
So now, you know, the Panthers have some momentum, And remember, they beat Atlanta 30-0 earlier this year. That was their third win after beating Miami and Dallas these weeks. And they play the Jets next week, so more momentum. And you get confidence in Bryce Young. Jalen Coker's going to be back. This is one of those teams no one's talking about their offensive line injuries, right? No one's talking about how many starters they're missing because these guys are playing with confidence now, and you love to see it.
Yeah, you absolutely love to see it. Seattle and Jacksonville. 20-12. It's Seattle getting the win on the road. Jacksonville, what the what? At least they beat Kansas City. 4-2 are the Jaguars, and 4-2 are the Seahawks. Sam Darnold, 295, 2 touchdowns in this one. Jackson Smith and Jigba with 8 for 162. What is it with monster wide receiver days today? 1 touchdown for JS and Cooper Kupp, 2 for 40 and a touchdown. AJ Barner, 3 for 71. You like that a lot. Torrey Horton only got a target. Oh, Kenneth Walker, 10 for 34 on the ground. Zach Charbonnet, 12 for 24 on the ground. Charbonnet also had to catch for 13 yards, and Walker had to catch for 3 yards. Let's talk about Seattle getting this win on the road. Hey, traveling across the country, that's not an easy task.
Yeah, like one corner of the country to the other. I mean, I guess they could have gone to Miami. That's the only way they could have gone, or Tampa, farther from Seattle, and stayed in the lower 48. Sam Darnold, I mean, see, again, I just want to say for fantasy, a good day, and he's been building. I mean, he didn't have a peak game today, but certainly good enough if you played him. But more importantly, again, the last we saw him last year, the last game of the regular season and the playoffs, it just looked like he had been solved. It looked like, okay, remember, Sam Darnold, no matter how well he plays, no matter how much structure, how much confidence he builds, no matter how much success he has, you can rattle him. And it hasn't happened this year. In fact, you would say the team is feeding off of his energy. I mean, it's him, not the running game, not Clint Kubiak's running game, not Kenneth Walker busting off long runs. He does sometimes, but it's Sam Darnold keeping this offense on schedule, keeping this offense viable, getting a big road win, and really smarting. This team is smarting after losing to Baker Mayfield last week at home. And it's, like you said, Jackson Smith and Jigba. Wow. 61-yard touchdown, and they make it look so easy. You know, see, there's those long touchdown highlights when, like, from the moment the ball leaves the quarterback's hand, you don't even need to see the receiver. You know that ball's coming down. And that's how Sam Darnold is throwing in the deep passing game. And by the way, otherwise, Smith and Jigba had 7 for 101. So he had 7 for 101 without that pass. That's what puts him over the top. Cooper Kupp catches a touchdown. You know, I mean, nobody else doing anything really important for fantasy, and they're splitting this backfield right down the middle. They don't care. You want to keep Kenneth Walker healthy for the rest of the season. AJ Barner did have also a 60-yard play, not quite in garbage time, one of the clinching plays against a defense that is trying to extend the game. So that helped Darnold's day. But, you know, this is a great success story, again, for somebody who's writing their own narrative. See, there's a lot of this week teams finding out who they are, you know, and it's great seeing Sam Darnold finding out who he is. And certainly Houston's going to ask him some tough questions next week on a Monday night, 2 Monday night games. Cecil, you're excited.
Oh, boy, 2 Monday night games. Mr. Scamper says his middle name is Richard.
Oh, wow.
Oh, Richard. I didn't know that. Brian, our media critic, says impressive day for Travis Hunter. By the way, if you read his previous comment, he said BK is very special. Does that mean anything to you?
BK?
Mm-hmm.
Like Burger King?
Think Denver.
Brandon Cristal.
Very good. Very good. Is Brandon Cristal special?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, once you meet him, you'll never forget him.
Exactly. Never, ever, ever. So let's talk about it. And yeah, just when we thought, hey, they're figuring out this Travis Hunter thing, man. It's looking good. Nah, not today. 4 for 15, 7 targets. So second to Brian Thomas, 8 for 90 and a touchdown. So I like that. Timmy Pats gets a touchdown, a catch for 26 yards. Parker Washington, 2 for 29. Travis Etienne, 12 carries, 27 yards. And then you saw 4 catches for 28 yards there. Man alive, this bit of a Jekyll and Hyde nature.
Yes.
I saw Liam Cohen on McAfee's show this week, like Duval, the Jaguars getting plenty of love out there, and then kind of dropped the ball on this one at home when people thought they might be rolling.
Right, because beating the Chiefs and the way they beat the Chiefs, stumbling, bumbling, and all that good stuff. and at home, and they come back home. Seattle's a good team, but they're going to show where they belong. And look, they didn't get blown out of the water, but like you said, see Jekyll and Hyde. I mean, it's Trevor Lawrence play to play, right? Teams taking on the personality of their quarterback and their head coach. I'm not sure what that means. I hear that Liam Cohn's a hard ass. Sorry, Joe. But with Trevor Lawrence, it's like one play you can get just the perfection, and the next play you wonder how could he possibly have seen that and done that. And even within the same play, again, his signature play from last week was a play where he fell down twice before he scored the game-winning touchdown. And you saw it in this game. Now, you did see Brian Thomas Jr. getting more involved. Now, Brian Thomas Jr. also had a drop at a key moment in the game, an easy catch. Brian Thomas Jr. also had a fluke long touchdown on an extended play that was overturned by penalty, and the penalty was Travis Hunter lining up in the neutral zone. Yeah, Travis Hunter, not making the big impact like we thought after last week's game. It did get Brian Thomas going. It did not get the running game going. Travis Etienne not doing much here. And there was also a play like Trevor Lawrence had De'Ami Brown open for what could have been a long touchdown and missed it. The fantasy value was still there, but you can see it's not necessarily going to translate to wins. There was another great extended play. Tim Patrick got the touchdown. Those seen Timmy Pats get in there, but the buzz has worn off already. Again, teams finding out who they are or maybe who they're not. And next week, go to London, and face the Rams.
Yeah. We have to get to Philip's hot takes comment. I'm smoking that green tonight. And then Cameron says the only reason to be on the internet is to hear Lamb and Sig dice it up. Grateful for you guys.
That's great, man. We're grateful for you all. I mean, taking
it's so much fun, man.
The late games were just okay, so I can do this. But sees more and more. I mean, I feel like it's such an eye. See, I feel like, and I'm not saying this. I'm not saying this to at all. I am self-aggrandizing. I do have delusions of grandeur. Cecil Lammey, I don't even need to say anything. I say that with love in my heart. But Cecil, I feel like we're priests. I feel like you and I are priests. And that's not to say how important we are. It's to say the kind of trust and the honor and the position that people have put us in. And I try to prepare for the show that way. And I think it's great that people are taking time out of their Sunday right now to hang out with us. Because what it's really about is the love that we feel watching how much these players lay it all out there, and then how much we enjoy being with each other and saying, did you see that? And there was lots to see today.
Harold C says, Grape Phantom. Wow, cannabis strains sound like racehorse names.
Give me the exacta.
My favorite horse was Dandy Ho. My favorite strain might be Maui Wowie. So
yeah.
Name your horse Maui Wowie.
That's like a bit, right? Like, is this a racehorse name or a strain?
I'm writing that, dude. I work at sports radio. Are you kidding me?
Take it.
Racehorse name or cannabis strain? You decide, internet. Oh my God, they'll probably tell me.
This is why we let these shows breathe, and it's and this is why we interact with our chat room. It's why we love you, and it's why you all are as responsible for the success as we are, because we're just. You bring it into existence, and all we have to do is just pull it down like a lightning bolt out of the sky.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I'm probably going to get told I can't do that, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to toss this game to you because I guess the only thing is Derrick Henry's back. Yeah. But Rams Baltimore, what was it, 17-3?
Yeah.
I mean, my God, just both teams bloom. Here you go, another stinker.
Yeah. It was a wind game, first of all, so I guess it's time for us to start paying attention to weather. I'd seen that there was a possibility of wind. Puka Nacua got banged up in this one. He did come back in, but he may not play in London. I don't even know if he's going to go to London. I don't know if it's smart for him to go with a banged up ankle. It was a letdown for fantasy. Marlon Humphrey did get hurt again. It was a letdown for fantasy for the whole Rams offense. Ravens defense did show some pride in this one, but you did have Kyron Williams catching a fourth down pass, going high, coming down and getting the one butt cheek equals 2 feet rule in there, and then he gets the touchdown right after that. But otherwise, Devontae Adams didn't do too much. Tyler Higbee got an easy touchdown after a Zay Flowers fumble. More on that in a second. But the Ravens were so inept. They shot themselves in the foot so many times on offense that in addition to the win and watching Puka Nacua limp off and come back, I just think the Rams didn't feel the need to press the issue on offense. So that was part of the letdown. But this is a winning team. They took care of business. Right now, the Ravens are a losing team, and they go into the bye and they look at their wounds and figure out how they can fix this.
Yeah, figure it out and see how they can turn things around. Turn around. I'm going to get sing-songy because, well, we're waiting for Tennessee to turn around and they're not. I'm very tempted to toss both of these two, but let's just go through it. 20-10, Vegas Raiders over Tennessee Titans. Titans are 1-5. How in the hell did they win a game? And then Vegas is 2-4. Cam Ward 222, 1 up, 1 down. Van Jefferson 4 for 75. Chigo Konkwu 6 for 46. Elika Yomanor 3 for 27 in this one. Tajay Spears back, so he gets 4 catches, 19 yards, 5 carries, 31 yards. Tony Pollard 10 for 34. I mean, it's 10-0 at halftime. They could still run. They're just not really good at what I believe this is a technical term, Bloom. It's called offensive football. The Titans aren't real good at it.
No, I mean, this is a team. By the way, the Ravens, other than what he said about Derrick Henry, Tyler Huntley got in late. I don't think we're going to see Lamar Jackson. Again, Zay Flowers had a fumble, another play that was kind of like a fumble. They didn't charge it to him, but that's reminiscent of a fumble he had in a playoff game. Again, it's all ghosts. And they're Cam Ward, it's definitely like he can't find his way out of the fun house or the haunted house right now. This offense is just so bad. Punts, turnovers, even Las Vegas's defense looks good against them. Calvin Ridley leaves with a hamstring. Chigaquanko gets some catches. How'd this team win? Again, a ball got snapped off someone's helmet. A team got an interception and fumbled it into the end zone for a touchdown, an offensive touchdown. Interception turned into an offensive touchdown. And then Amari DiMercato flipped the ball away at the goal line. Like, that's what it takes. You need to have a confluence of plays like that for this team to be in a game. And they're facing New England. And hey, for the Vegas fans, there are some Vegas fans that go to those games in Las Vegas, right? Raiders fans. At least they got to celebrate a W.
Yeah, a W. Lester wants to know what Opal's doing.
Is she in the picture right now?
I didn't see Opal. Did she jump around?
I don't know. See, I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. Ha, ha, ha. Because I'm really want to plan on doing, folks, is some of this stuff over my shoulder. I want it to be more attractive to the cats. I'm figuring out some workshopping some stuff so that you won't have to ask. But Opal, she's feeling okay. She's been a little neurotic, but we're all home now, and we're all home. She's happy.
Okay. Raiders fans happy with the win. Gino happy. People will stop talking about him getting benched. For now, 174, 1 touchdown, 1 INT for Gino. Trey Tucker, 5 for 70. Michael Mayer, 5 for 50 and 1 touchdown. Again, no Brock Bowers in this one. You had Ashton Jeanty, 23 carries, 75 yards, 1 touchdown. Sometimes you're just going to grind it out. And that's what Jeanty can do with a couple of catches for 11 yards there as well. And the Raiders are 2-4 and feeling good? ?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be pretty. Gino, not going to get benched. If we're going to take anything out of this, it's that he extends that out. They have a long drive for a field goal. Then they get to a 1st and goal, and they call a pass to Alex Kappa, guard. Come on, you're the Raiders. You're 1-4 going into this game. Then they do come to their senses. Actually, Michael Mayer gets the touchdown later after that, after a big sack fumble. Yeah, Ashton Jeanty. It wasn't a big offensive day for them. Defense set them up for one. Ashton Jeanty get a touchdown. Trey Tucker speed. Jacoby Myers not playing that big of a role, even without Brock Bowers. Again, it was Michael Mayer playing a pretty big role in the pass offense. Not much Jack Besh, but we'll see. Raiders usually play up to the Chiefs, and that's what they have to do next week.
Yeah, let's see what they can do next week. And now we go to Packers and Bengals. And it's Packers getting the win, 27-18. Joe Flacco does not become the first quarterback to beat a team in the same season with 2 different teams. But man, I was kind of sorry, Green Bay. I was kind of rooting for it.
Yeah.
Just because Joe Flacco hates existence, but he's here because you can't play football forever. 219, 2 touchdowns, no INTs, and it was 45 passing attempts for Joe. 20 of those passes went to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Still sounds a little light. It was 10 catches, 94 yards, touchdown for Jamar Chase. 5 catches, 62 yards for T. Higgins. The other touchdown goes to Tanner Hudson. And then Noah Fant had 4 for 27. They just don't run the ball. Chase Brown, 9 for 42. That didn't really change today. And they fall short, 27-18 to the new look Bengals.
Yeah, the Bengals, Cecil, I'm with you. I mean, there was a moment this game, it was actually looking like it was going to be kind of fun on that. Can Flacco beat the same team twice with 2 different teams in the same season? I do want to say, though, they showed an interview with Flacco or part of an interview with Flacco, and they were asking him basically like, "Why are you still playing? Why are you still playing?" And he went on a bit at length, and sees there was some emotion behind it. And for Joe Flacco, just a little bit of emotion means there's a lot of emotion. Like if you just sense that he's not like a wooden robot, then there's something. And he talked about just how he loves playing football and how he's only going to get one chance in his life to play football, and he wants to play football. He loves playing football, and for that I thought, well, hey, it's kind of neat at least that he gets to be a starting quarterback and gets to try to make some stuff happen. And there was a point in this game and it was 10-7 and they had just scored a touchdown to tighten it up, and like, here we go again. That's just like it was with the Browns. And then the defense isn't good. They don't have the Browns defense, but it was good for Jamar Chase. It was okay for T. Higgins. It's going to be okay for T. Higgins. Not so much for Chase Brown. It's not going to change much for him. Tanner Hudson gets a touchdown, 10+ minute drive to open the second half again, to make it 10-7. So at that point, it looked interesting. At least that's more than you could say for what Jake Browning had done. But I don't know if Flacco is going to be able to make it interesting against one of his old nemesis teams, the Steelers.
Yeah, here we go. Joe Flacco. How about Jordan Love on the flip side, Green Bay Packers side of things? Love 259, 1 touchdown, 1 INT. Matthew Golden gets 3 for 86. Josh Jacobs 5 for 57 as a receiver, and then 18 for 93 and 2 rushing touchdowns. By the way, Jordan Love had 26 yards rushing here as well. And then we go down. Romeo Doubs 5 for 55. There's the touchdown. Tucker Kraft 2 for 43 and a touchdown on the day. And the Packers rolling at home.
Yeah, it didn't need to be this hard, but you saw, Jordan Love, he's good, but he's not Patrick Mahomes. Okay. He's not Baker Mayfield even. And he tried to do one of those. I think I'm one of those quarterbacks. And he tried to make too much happen on a play early, was intercepted. And then the next drive was a field goal. We're just going to let this happen. This is how it was 10-7 more than halfway through the third quarter. But eventually it came together. Josh Jacobs, of course, he's going to get things back on track with the way he runs the ball physically. Matthew Golden making some plays, like you said, Romeo Doubs making some plays, Tucker Kraft getting the touchdown. So it wasn't, again, it's Cincinnati. It should have been 24 points in the first half, right? It wasn't. But this isn't one they have to look back on like the Cleveland game and say, how did we lose it? They figured out a way to win it. And they're going to, again, face Jacoby Brissett and those plucky Cardinals next week.
Yeah, those plucky almost got away with it if it wasn't for you kids. Let's talk about the final game to recap here. Week 6, instant reactions. It's Tampa Bay 30. San Francisco 19, 49ers are 4-2. Tampa Bay is 5-1. And Mac Jones 27 to 39, 347 yards, no touchdowns, 2 INTs. Also sacked 6 times. It would help if he had healthy receivers.
Right.
Kendrick Bourne helps. 5 for 142 for Kendrick Bourne, but they're missing so much. Jake Tongs 6 for 58. So if you picked him up and played him, you'll take that. Christian McCaffrey 17 for 54 and a rushing touchdown. 7 catches for 57 yards there as well. DeMarcus Robinson, couple of catches, 44 yards. Just going down the list. Nobody starts MBS or DeMarcus Robinson or Kyle Juszczyk or Brian Robinson. Hey, there's Jawan Jennings. All right. But still, the 49ers, they've been lucky to be 4-2 with everything they're battling, Bloom.
Yeah. And this team they still have a heartbeat, but they lost the heart of their defense, Fred Warner, in this game. And they already lost Nick Bosa. I posted my Black Knight Monty Python, just flesh wound. But I mean, oh man. But Mac Jones is not going to give up. Mac Jones is going to keep swinging. And Mac Jones, even with Kendrick Bourne, born again, with another big game, he went back to the well there. Of course, Christian McCaffrey's going to get his. Jake Tonges, third stringer, game-winning touchdown to open, and fantasy value now for 3 straight weeks. Not Jawan Jennings, who was active, but I guess active. I classified him as a gamer, the type that as long as he's active, you're going to see his normal game. But you didn't see that. Again, it was Kendrick Bourne getting open downfield. But like you said, they're 4-2, and everybody else is going through the minefield. Everyone else is losing key players. Atlanta's coming next week. That's not going to be an easy game, but it's a winnable game. Mac Jones, we'll see. Maybe Brock Purdy could be back next week. Maybe George Kittle could be back next week. Maybe Ricky Pearsall could be back next week. But again, Fred Warner is not back next week. And that's a massive loss.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, got to talk about Tampa side because you got to talk about Baker, the baby maker. And you'll love to see it. You'll love to see the Buccaneers continue on their roll. Baker, 256, 2 touchdowns, no INTs. It's Cameron Johnson with the touchdown, 4 for 64. And then Tez Johnson, 1 catch, 45 yards, 1 touchdown for the little guy. But it's making big plays. Emeka Egbuka, 2 for 24. Is that his first kind of dud? Did we see a dud for Egbuka and Javonte today? Anyway, Sean Tucker with the rushing touchdown. Rashad White with 65 yards on the ground and a rushing touchdown, 3 catches, 21 yards. And it's enough for Tampa Bay to just roll this thing.
Yeah, the MVP, as Bougie says in the chat room, the MVP chance. And truly an MVP because he's doing what it takes for his team to win every week. He's just doing. And before I get into that, I want to tell you something else about Baker Mayfield. In the press conference, the first thing he wanted to talk about was Fred Warner. He didn't want to talk about what he and his team did. That's how big Fred Warner, as far as the respect, you saw both teams gathered around him when he had that injury, kind of reminiscent of Chris Godwin's injury. Speaking of Godwin, last year there was that point when the Bucs lost their top 3 receivers. Remember, they're playing with Raheem Jarrett and Trey Palmer. We will never let this happen again. It happened again. Egbuka goes out with a hamstring in this one. So we'll see. Mike Evans didn't practice this week. I don't know. They play Monday night against Detroit. That's going to be fun. So that's a reason to be happy about 2 Monday night games because one of them is Detroit and Tampa. But I don't like the idea of Mike Evans being out there after not even participating in a limited practice this week. So we might be looking at Tez Johnson, Cameron Johnson, and Sterling Shepard as the top 3 receivers. And Baker Mayfield says, no problem. You got Tez Johnson catching a fingertip catch on the tip of the ball for his 45-yard touchdown. Cameron Johnson is actually smarter than Tez sees. I thought that Tez caught the first one because can they really have 2 little receivers named Johnson? Yes, they can. Cameron Johnson with a long touchdown, putting him in motion the same way that he did with Tez. Great stuff from Josh Grizzard. Putting these little guys in motion, they get a clean release, and Baker's going to find them. Baker's field vision and Baker's the way that he's anticipating things right now is just eerie, even with his number 4, number 5, and number 6 receiver, and Cade Otton doing some stuff. We'll talk about these guys on the waiver wire show because Baker Mayfield is just playing that well. That's why Rashad White is a running back 1 start. Don't think we're going to see Bucky Irving next week. Even Sean Tucker got a touchdown. Syracuse in the house. And this team, they're just winners. And it's Baker Mayfield, Cease. And I think people are getting used to the idea that he belongs. When we talk about Josh Allen, we talk about Patrick Mahomes, we talk about Lamar. He's in that conversation. I don't care about fantasy football. I'm talking about a guy that is going to will his team to victories.
Yeah, that's the sign of a great one. Not a good one, not a very good one. Bloom, a great one.
Yeah.
When you say, I don't care who I'm throwing to. I don't care what you throw at me. I'm better than you. Yeah. And he knows it. So basically, he's White Goodman from Dodgeball.
And see, I learned for the first time, I don't know why I didn't know this. He was the first ever walk-on freshman quarterback to start the season opener in the FBS. So he went to Texas Tech. I think it was Cliff Kingsbury. He went there as a walk-on. He only got offers from Florida Atlantic and places like that.
And they've had some quarterbacks at Texas Tech before Baker. Now they didn't do anything in the pros, but yeah.
Right. And I think it was his dad encouraged him, no, go for it. Go to one of these schools, just go try to play at one of these schools where you want to play. And he walked on at Texas Tech. And I think there was an injury. It was all the Lake Travis, because it's all Austin. It's all 6 degrees of Austin quarterbacks. It was all the Lake Travis quarterbacks. And he started his first game as a freshman as a walk-on. And so that tells you that he doesn't care about the odds.
I believe, and AI is telling me that Davis Webb was there.
Yeah, Davis Webb was who got hurt.
Yeah. Wow. I'll ask Davis about that sometime.
Yeah.
He was teammates with Evan Ingram, and he got hurt, and Baker Mayfield took over for Texas Tech. Craziness. And he said no to Colorado. He actually had committed to Colorado. It's why I didn't like him for a long time, forever, basically. And then after like 3 months, he backed out of his commitment to Colorado and went to Cal. Right. So there you go. Anyway, hey, what about the game now, Bloom? What
I mean, I think there was like a Dave Montgomery pass to
Jared Goff.
But then it got overturned by penalties. They had to settle for a field goal. Chiefs go right down the field, short touchdown for Xavier Worthy, but then the Lions go right down the field, touchdown. Jameson Williams touchdown. If you stuck with him, you got that. But this game is just getting started. So everybody, all the wonderful people who joined us in the chat room, me and you, Cecil, we can sit back and enjoy this one and just enjoy getting to be part of this with you. Again, you all have given us this great responsibility. This show is kind of like a church, in that it's a sacred space for us to spend time together and really just celebrate our fellowship here as we go through life together. And football helps be a fire that we can warm ourselves by.
And thank you for that radio bit of racehorse or cannabis strain.
Yes, racehorse
coming to a Denver audience
or cannabis strain. If not, we're gonna do that. If not, Cecil, we're just gonna start put it on the list of podcasts. Number 197.
Oh, yes.
The name of the podcast is just Racehorse. I go get the racing form, and then I'm gonna go get my menu. Racehorse name or cannabis strain.
My favorite horse. Well, Comanche was my favorite horse, and maybe that is a cannabis strain, but my favorite horse growing up, right? I got to name him. It was the first horse that I got to name.
Oh, wow.
Which is a big deal. And usually you take the sire and the dam and you combine the name somehow. But my favorite horse, black horse with a white nose, Dandy Ho.
Dandy Ho, yeah.
Like ho, like yo ho, or like
land ho.
Yeah, get your mind out of the gutter. Dandy Ho. That was a Dandy Ho. Never forget her.
Yeah.
Anyway, Dandy Ho is my favorite horse. Sounds like a cannabis strain too.
The important thing is, I'm sure, like cannabis strains, each horse is its own experience. I mean, it's sometimes in the morning you might want to ride one or Dandy Ho, but maybe if it's a longer trip, if it's a trip where it's going to be hotter, you might want to pack with somebody else.
Lester says he loves us.
Oh, I love
you guys. Yeah. Always, and forever. And make sure to love us by like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you never miss a vid. It feels so cheap, but appreciate it. It's how the life works. It's how English works. It's the algorithm, baby. We want to, bow down to our AI overlords for now. Say no to digital ID. Anyway, he is Sigmund Bloom. You follow him on all the socials at Sigmund Bloom. I am at Cecil Lammey. Not trusting the government somewhere. That's right. You can follow me at Cecil Lammey. The show is at The Audible. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned. Would you please stay frosty?